So Helen, how do you help a business to choose the right trading terms? I mean, one of the great revelations to me when I sort of embarked on this, let's build a platform full of all the options and then guide people through it, was just how many different types of trading terms there are. I mean, they come in almost every variety. You kind of need a recipe book for them, right?
Yeah, no, you do. And it's important to choose the right ones because they'll match your business the most. We're advising clients, we're finding out who they're dealing with. So are they dealing with businesses? Are they dealing with freelancers? Are they dealing with consultants for companies? Or are they dealing with consumers, everyday people?
And there are different rules that apply to all of those.
Exactly. So, if you're dealing with businesses, you've got a lot more flexibility in what you can include in the contract. Consumer law is much more rigid and you need to comply with it. And then I think especially on the consumer side, it all depends on how are you contracting with them. Are you selling online? Are you going doorstep selling? Have you got a shop? Because all of that influences what set of terms are going to be best for you. Understanding, what it is you're selling. Are you selling services? Are you selling goods? Are you selling digital content? Are you selling a mix of them all? I think it's just important to understand all of that, and then understanding if you have been in business before, if you know some of your competitors, what problems they've had, because actually you can learn from that. If you ever have hit a problem, how can we address that in our terms? How can we try and make that better in the future? And that it's really important to learn from those experiences. So even if you've got a set of terms, in the future, if you do come up with a problem or you hear of a competitor who's had a problem, it's always worth reviewing your terms and seeing if you can put something in that might address that, or at least give you some help in the future if that occurs again.
And that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I had a case when I was back in private practice of a plumber. He was a sole trader. He absolutely knew that he needed the right trading terms and conditions. What he did is he went to a competitor's site, and it was a very big, very established, very well-known plumbing business, looked at their terms and conditions and essentially lifted those off and said, look, I know I need them. I know they'll have taken legal advice. I know they're going to be really robust, and he adopted them. We found out about that, not at the time he was adopting it, but when something went wrong, and then we looked at those terrifying warranties and indemnities and liabilities provisions, which were appropriate for a large plumbing organisation, but absolutely totally didn't suit him as a sole trader. And he was facing a dispute where he would have been liable for a phenomenal amount of money and probably crashed him, possibly bankrupted him. And extricating him from some of that dispute obviously was our main priority, but it struck me that this was a moment where you actually want to say to people, look at the competitors' terms, but don't adopt them wholesale.
But you don't, if you copy someone else's, you don't necessarily understand what some of them mean, or you don't understand, what's gone behind that to put that in. And it's really important to do that because it changes for every business.
Yeah. So starting from a good core basis, like the Farillio templates that we've created with you, but then really understanding the guidance that we put around that, and then being able to press the button and get access to somebody like you if you're really not sure, you're really worried about risk, which I think we all should understand, is a better way of doing it than just going to somebody else's website.
I've had a lot of clients who come to me and said, could you just review these? And it's been a Google search, and you don't know where they've come from, you don't know what advice has been taken behind them. I think it's really important to understand where your basic template came from, and build on that.